Somebody asked me with some questions to say it, Pandi Maica, what about the date of Mohammed Gaddafi and what about the date of John Pompier Magufuli? I have been explaining to Africans for so long. And one thing every African should ask yourself is, they said, our forefathers were slaves, but there is no more slavery. But why are we, the black Africans countries, still commanded by US, still commanded by UK, still commanded by Europeans, still commanded by European Union? Why? And we need to ask ourselves these questions. You know, sometimes when I sit and think and ask myself some questions like this, I start to feel like there are things going on with us, the black peoples, with ourselves. And that things, I try to find them out. There are two things. We don't value ourselves, black Africans. We don't respect ourselves. We try to underestimate ourselves. We undermine ourselves. As a black Africans like me, I don't underestimate the power of African and the power of Africa and the power of the blackhood. And that's what I stand for, the blackhood. That's what I defend, the blackhood. Not the whole of Africa, because when I mention the whole Africa, we are trying to find out to see some white countries in Africa. Example, Libya, Morocco, Saudi Arabia. These are countries being in Africa, but they are no more Africans. The same way Europeans, Americans, UK, Chinese treat us the same way these Arab countries are treating black Africans. And if they said, I should speak about the death of Mohammed Gaddafi to explain to so many Africans, to bring to the awareness why Mohammed Gaddafi was killed and why John Pompier Magufuli, Tanzania former president, was killed, was assassinated. This assassination I was talking about for a very long time. That any African legend who came out to fight for Africa, you will be assassinated. And why? Somebody asked this question. And I'm really perfectly here to explain why I say those words. Somebody says, I, Pandi Maica says, Mr. Paul, the Rwanda president, is the next person to be assassinated by Americans or UK. Yes, the words is from me. It is my words. I don't deny it. I am the one who said it. And being asking me that question, why do I say it? He is the next person to be assassinated, Rwanda president, Mr. Paul. My fellow black Africans, I will first answer a question that why Mohammed Gaddafi was killed and what was the reason they killed Mohammed Gaddafi and who were the people who killed Mohammed Gaddafi? Who were the people who assassinated Mohammed Gaddafi? I will say it loud and clear. And who were the people who assassinated John Pompier Magufuli, Tanzania former president? And who were the peoples who are trying to assassinate the present president in Rwanda, Mr. Paul? Who are the peoples who are trying to assassinate him? I'm going to make it very clear. I don't care who they are, which position they rule. I don't want to know. The only thing is I want to bring awareness to my fellow Africans, no lie. The truth I shall stand with and the truth I shall die with. I will never die with lie. I will never die by covering the truth with lie. But I will always bring out the truth. I don't care which position they are, but I'm going to mention them here. First, let's talk about Mohammed Gaddafi, the legend of Africa. A man who stood up to see that Africa is united as one big nation and Africa use one currency and Africa have one president. This was a sentence. A very short sentence, it's very short words, that was a big problem to Europeans because as their own imagination, they know that when Mohammed Gaddafi was successful by bringing Africa as one big nation and by bringing Africa to use one big currency, that is going to become an economic falling of Europeans, economic falling of UK and US and Chinese. And in this way, Muhammad Gaddafi should be assassinated, but they will be assassinated by who? Will not be assassinated by them directly, but they are going to do it indirectly. And this is what they have been doing to so many Africans. Indirectly assassinating them, using their own peoples to assassinate them, using their own peoples to kill them. But their own people were used by killing them. Muhammad Gaddafi, his own people were brainwashed and used against him, to fight him, to bring him down. By who? By Americans and France government. The fact, American government was involved by asking Muhammad Gaddafi before he died some questions. Americans says, you want to bring Africa together. Do you have the economic to hold on to that? He says, Africa hold the world economy. So if Africa could raise the American economy, could raise the UK economy, Muhammad Gaddafi, what I'm saying right now, Muhammad Gaddafi said to American government that when they ask him, do you have the economic, do you have the capacity to raise that economy when Africa become one nation? He said, Africa have all it takes to raise its own economy. Why not? Because if Africa could raise the American economy, if Africa could raise UK economy, if Africa could raise Europeans economy, why couldn't Africa raise their own economy? This is a word from Muhammad Gaddafi to American government. And at the end of the day, what did France say? Muhammad Gaddafi, France government was owing Muhammad Gaddafi trillions of euros. I don't say millions, I don't say billions, but trillions of euros. Americans were owing Muhammad Gaddafi trillions of euros. Trillions. I don't count millions, billions. I count trillions here, my brothers and sisters. And the World Bank was owing Muhammad Gaddafi. Libya have a money in the World Bank. That money will not be paid. And these are all calculations put into book by UK and Europeans to put it together. There are many European countries owing Muhammad Gaddafi. And by paying all this money, when Muhammad Gaddafi is alive, when Muhammad Gaddafi tried to put Africa as one big nation, Muhammad Gaddafi is going to ask for his debt. The money that they are owing him, because he will need it to improve African economy, to increase the economy of Africa. Because by that time, Africa will be one nation. And in this way, they don't want to Muhammad Gaddafi to ask them that loan. And they know when Africa become together as one big nation and Africa use one big currency, it is going to be an economic crisis for Europeans and Americans and UK. And in this way, they assassinated Muhammad Gaddafi by brainwashing Libyans to tell them that Muhammad Gaddafi is your enemy. If Muhammad Gaddafi is not removed out, then you, the Libyans, are not going to get this, that. The Libyans started to go against finding and doing demonstrations on the street against Muhammad Gaddafi that they don't want him. Libyans who were paid by Europeans and Americans to go against Muhammad Gaddafi. And these Libyans were bribing some another Libyan officers to come and join them to go against Muhammad Gaddafi. And this is how the rebellion started in Libya. And what happened next? America started to come to say they want to save Libyans because Libyans don't want Muhammad Gaddafi. And why did Muhammad Gaddafi still insisting to be the president of Libya? What is their business if Libyans don't want Muhammad Gaddafi or they want Muhammad Gaddafi? What is their business? Because they were the peoples who formed that war in Libya. And France came out to say, we will be the first people to shoot on Muhammad Gaddafi if nobody could start it, because France was having a pipe from Libya, from Libya to France to supply them with oil. That's why I say France was owing Muhammad Gaddafi trillions of euros. And in this way now, Muhammad Gaddafi is gone. Why am I repeating this? Because somebody asked me to speak about Muhammad Gaddafi. And somebody told me that you also speak about John Pombe Magufuli, Tanzania former president. Who killed John Pombe Magufuli, Tanzania former president? Who assassinated him? His assassinators are still alive and they are happy that what they want to be happen in Tanzania, that's what happened in Tanzania. because they want to remove John Pombe Magufuli because he refused to believe the lie that they are putting in the world. John Pombe Magufuli, Tanzania former president, may peace be open to him, may he have Jannah. May he get paradise. African good leaders were assassinated by these same peoples. John Pombe Magufuli was a very good leader, was very good to Tanzania, was a man who had sympathy on Tanzania, was a man who was trying all his best to see that his people are living fairly life. Was a man who was protecting Tanzania never to happen, never to make war, never to make disasters in Tanzania. At that moment, he was the only man who was standing and always defending the blackhood in anywhere, in America, either in the UK. But what happened to him at the next? When there was this fake sickness, every time I say this fake sickness called COVID-19. When this sickness came out, COVID-19, they started, Europeans were in a very big danger. I will say it. And I don't care if Facebook will block me or not, but this is what I'm going to tell you now, because if anybody reveals this secret, they block you in Facebook. So my people watching me right now should know if my Facebook was blocked, then I already know it will be blocked. Because this secret was a secret that if anybody reveal it, they block your account, they delete all your videos from your pages. Facebook do it. And I'm going to reveal the secret right now. Because this was a word that nobody should say it out. But I'm going to sit here today to tell you the Africans how they assassinated John Pombe Magufuli and why do they assassinated him. Tanzania former president. When coronavirus started, COVID-19, we the blacks men, we the black people living in Europe, we were always working, every day going to work. And white people were not going to work because they stopped them. They said quarantine and everybody should stay in the house. Everybody should stay indoor. But we the black peoples in Europe, we were going to work without face masks. And we were not getting this sickness. And European citizens who were sitting in their houses with face masks, they were getting coronavirus. And their citizens started to come out to make a demonstration to ask their governments, the European governments, that why black peoples without face masks going to work every day, they are not getting this COVID-19. But we, the white people, the citizens of Europe, staying in the room with face masks, we are still getting this COVID-19. It became a problem. It became a very big problem on the European governments. Then they started to come out to see that which solution they can do to make their people believe that COVID-19 is true. Because their people were always convinced by the nature that this COVID-19 is fake. And what happened next? They started to see any black man, if you said your head is paining you, if you go to an European hospital, they say you have COVID-19. To let their peoples believe that black peoples are also having COVID-19, it's not only white. They were putting any black man who go to hospital, if your hand is paining you, they said you have COVID-19. They took your picture and put it on their medias everywhere. To make their peoples believe the fake decisions they are making on their peoples. The fake decision. The fake sickness called COVID-19. And in that way, their peoples came out to make demonstration to say, look, our European Prime Minister says, this sickness spread by air and Africa is not having this sickness and still Africans are working, Africans are doing their business. There is no more COVID-19 in Africa. Is Africa not among the world? Is Africa not no more among the planet? Why do Africa is not locked down, but only Europe and America and UK is locked down, and China? But Africa is never locked down. I swear to the Holy Quran, what they do next is to pay each and every African leader 27 million euro. Each and every African leader. This is the strategy they use. That's why all African countries, all African leaders were locking down their countries because they were paid by European Union, each and every leader in Africa, 27 million euro to lock down their country, to make their peoples, their European citizens to believe that Africa also is locked down now. So this sickness is true. Because there are people were asking them this question. Why Africa is not locked down? Why is only Europe? Is Africa not normal among the planet? And in this way, they started to pay each and every African leader. John Pombe Magufuli was among leaders who collected the 27 million euro to lock down his country. The 27 million euro was given to each and every African leader to lock down their countries. This was the reason they gave them 27 million euro. This 27 million euro was given by European Union to African leaders so that they can lock down their countries. Either they believe if the sickness is there or not, they should lock down their country. That's why they pay them this 27 million euro. Just for their European citizens to believe that this sickness is true. And at the next, John Pombe Magufuli, Tanzania former president, pick up the 27 million euro and find out later that this sickness is fake. It's just that peoples, Europeans, Americans, and UK and Chinese want to increase their economy. They don't know how to increase it. And they have to take a loan from the World Economic. And in this way, they can't get a charity from the World Economic if they don't form any other kind of sickness, my brothers and sisters. And it become problem between Europeans and their citizens, between Americans and their citizens, between UK and their citizens. By asking them that why Africa is not locked down, and they paid every African leader 27 million euro to lock down their countries. John Pombe Magufuli picked this 27 million euro and find out later that this COVID-19 is a fake. And he refused to lock down his country. Every country in Africa was locked down except Tanzania. Tanzania peoples know what I am talking about. He refused to lock down his country. He said he don't believe it's a real sickness. It's a fake. And his people were not dying when he refused to lock down his country. His peoples were not dying. His peoples were going to their businesses. And that's the time when I saw Europeans came out to ask questions. European peoples who plot this evil plan against Africa, they came out to make videos to say why European Union is not asking John Pombe Magufuli to return the 27 million euro they give him to lock down his country. I swear to the Holy Quran, this was what was happening. But none of us, the Africans, were interested in to know what is going on our continent, why our continent is locked down. But I was criticizing that time to know what they are planning against Africa, because everything in this world, when it happened, I try to know, I try to see that these people, they are planning something against Africa. They use Africa. And that's the moment I try to criticize and investigate what are they planning right now against Africa. Because when something like this is happening, everybody is focused on one place. But we forget about what is happening in our back, in our homeland, Africa. And I find out that Europeans were really having meetings to find out a way how to deal with John Pombe Magufuli, because they've already paid him. And some of the European doctors were even making videos on TikTok, on Facebook, asking, saying that why do European Union didn't go to Tanzania to collect the 27 million euro from John Pombe Magufuli, because they paid him to lock down his country. You paid a president to lock down his country without knowing the reason. And so many African, only John Pombe Magufuli, Tanzania former president, refused to lock down his country. All the stupid leaders of Africa were locking down their countries when they were paid by 27 million euro. When they were paid with this 27 million euro, all of them locked their countries without criticizing whether this sickness is true, whether it's in their country or not. They don't want to know because they have the money. And this was how they were using them. By giving them that money, none of these African leaders were criticizing or investigating if this sickness is true or a fake. By giving them money, immediately all of them locked down their countries. All of them. John Pombe Magufuli says, no, I will not lock down my country. And this complaint been going on. European doctors were complaining. European Union, some of the European Union Parliament workers were complaining. Why don't they ask John Pombe Magufuli to return the 27 million euro they have given to him? And that's how they plan and already prepared that woman to become the president of Tanzania, because they know they will take away John Pombe Magufuli. And when they assassinated him, they want someone to be the president of Tanzania who they can use, who they can take their remote and use that person like a television. Like the same way they are using all other African leaders. Whatever they say, that's what you will do in your country. Whatever they don't want to happen in your country, that will not happen. So you have to listen to them and take command from them. They have to be the commander. And they choose that woman. When that woman accepts to be a slave to Europeans and to listen to them and to take commandment from them, then they choose him. They choose her as the leader when Mohammed Gaddafi, when John Pombe Magufuli will be gone. And I said it, I will never hide it. Europeans have a hand in John Pombe Magufuli to assassinate. John Pombe Magufuli was poisoned and killed. Who poisoned him? His own fellow black peoples. Who used his own peoples and kill him? Europeans. And at the end of the day, I saw Europeans in every news in Europe they were writing. John Pombe Magufuli, Tanzania former president, who refused, who says that coronavirus is not true. He is now dead and killed by coronavirus. This is what they said in every news. They said he is the only leader in Africa who refused to accept the challenge of coronavirus, but now he is killed by coronavirus. Now, all the European newspapers, televisions, TV stations were just putting this because they were paid to do it, just to show the whole world that he refused. That's why he died by coronavirus. And I think I make it very clear to my peoples. I don't lie. If they don't believe me, if European Union and Europeans don't believe me, and they want to make it to the world, make it clear to Tanzanian people that they don't have date in John Pombe Magufuli, then they should arrest me and let's go to court. They should assassinate me like the way they assassinated John Pombe Magufuli, Mohammed Gaddafi, and all other African legends. I don't give a damn. And let's talk about Mr. Paul, the Rwanda president, who I always said when somebody asks me, why do you say that Europeans, Americans, and UK, they are now targeting Rwanda president? I swear to the Holy Quran, if Rwanda president Mr. Paul is not careful, he is the next person to be assassinated as African leader. He is doing very well for his peoples. Rwanda president. Rwanda is developing. He is doing very well for Rwanda. You know why they will assassinate him? You know why they are very angry at him, Mr. Paul, right now? I will say it very loud and clear. A man who never hide truth. Last year, 2022, he was the UK, United Kingdom, paid Rwanda president $152 million. $152 million. That's what they have paid him. $152 million US dollar. They paid him because they want to deport every migrant in UK to Rwanda. And that money was not returned. That is the money that Mr. Paul, Rwanda president, used right now to develop his country when the deportation was cancelled. And they have already given him $152 million US dollar. Because they want to deport migrants to Rwanda. And Mr. Paul, when the deportation was cancelled, he is not foolish. He used that money to develop his country right now. And right now, as they are looking, Mr. Paul is doing very well in his country and being a good example for every African country. They are going to assassinate him. They are coming for you, Mr. President. Mr. Paul, the Rwanda president, they are coming for you. They will never relent. And they will never assassinate you by themselves, but by your own people, Rwanda peoples. They will use Rwanda peoples against you. And every Rwanda citizen should listen to this. Don't let you fall into any of this European trap or UK trap or American trap to assassinate your own good leader who is trying to develop your country. Now Rwanda make their own buses. Rwanda make their own car. Rwanda manufacture many things now like Libya. Rwanda is becoming like Libya. They manufacture things by themselves without asking help from any of this white man country. If the man is assassinated, the man is killed tomorrow. Don't say it, I don't say it. They are coming for him. They don't do things instantly. And when we say it, we are free. There is no more slavery. But we are still command. Africa is still command by these peoples. We are still command by them. We are still command by Europeans, Americans, and UK. They command Africa. They command our leaders. It means they command Africa. They decide what should happen in Africa. And they speak about Africa. They forget what is happening in their own countries. Come to Europe. How many corruption do we have in European countries? There are more corruption in European countries, but why are they not sitting in their TVs and speak about the corruption in their countries? But they are always sitting in their European TV shows and speaking about the corruption in Africa. While they are the peoples who cause that corruption in Africa. But we never cause any corruption in their countries. And there are millions of corruption in European countries. But they never sit in their TV stations and talk about the corruption and the hunger and the suffering in their own countries. But Europeans are suffering. Europeans are suffering. But they go to their TV shows and show the bad parts of Africa, the parts of Africa that are suffering. They will put it on their TVs to show to their children that Africans are nobody. Africans are nothing. But they never saw the suffering part of European countries. If you go to Ukraine right now, they are suffering. Why are they not talking about that? Because they are the cause of Ukraine suffering today. Because they pushed Ukraine on Russia. For Ukraine to be destroyed. Because Ukraine have vaccines and so many things from Russia. Ukrainians have so many benefits from Russia. And Europeans are not getting benefit from Russia like the way Ukraine was getting. And they try to push Ukraine on Russia for Ukraine to be destroyed. And now they sit back and laugh Ukraine. And try to catch Ukraine people as immigrants in European countries right now. Because Ukraine president was a fool. I know so many things about this war in Ukraine. I don't want to talk about it because I don't care whatever happened in Ukraine. I don't want to know. And I don't want to care whatever happened in Ukraine because Ukraine was a country that was very racist to black Africans. And even during the war, Ukraine policeman was racist to black peoples by refusing to allow them to go enter inside terrain, to go to safety country. And allowing only white people to go. This is why I don't talk about Ukraine. This is the main reason I support Vladimir Putin. This is the main reason I always speak about the madness of Vladimir Putin, the Russian president. I support him today, I support him tomorrow. He's a man and he's doing the right thing to protect his territory and defend his own peoples. He will fight and die for his own peoples. And that's the leader we need. That's what we call a leader. But Europeans are suffering. If you come to Italy, they have peoples. There are some places in Italy, they are dying of hunger. They don't have food. They can't buy food. They are suffering. If you go to France, the same thing. Do you think Europeans are not suffering? But they still sit in their TV shows and they don't talk about the corruptions of their countries. But they talk about the corruptions of Africa. They always speak about the corruptions of Africa. Africa is corrupt. Africa is this. There is a war happening in Nigeria. Nigerians are killing each other. There is a war happening in Ethiopia. Ethiopians are killing each other. There is a war happening in Liberia. Liberians are killing each other. But those same white countries are the cause of those wars happening in Africa. They are the corruptions of Africa. They are the cause of the corruption happening in Africa today. And they have millions of corruption in their own white man country. If you come to European countries, they have millions of corruptions in their countries, but they will never sit in their TV stations and talk about the corruption in their own countries, but they want to sit in their TV stations and talk about the corruptions of Africa while they are the cause of that corruption in Africa. And that should be stopped. You cannot sit in your TV stations and talk about the corruptions of Africa while you have millions of corruptions in your country and you try to hide it from your citizens. You want to protect your own territory. You want to make that corruption as a secret thing in your country. But you want to make African corruption popular and known to everyone. While you are the cause of that corruption in Africa. How that corruption was brought to Africa. How that corruption was caused in Africa. How all those wars in African countries were caused in Africa. And when we have our African leaders who are so selfish and so greedy by collecting money from white man countries and trying to demolish their own countries, to abandon their own peoples. When there was a war in Libya, never affect African economy. When there was a war in Burkina, never affect African economy. When there was a war in Nigeria, never affect African economy. When there was a war in Sierra Leone, never affect African economy. When there was a war in Liberia, never affect African economy. But when the war of Ukraine and Russia started, African leaders started to come out to say their economy was affected because there was a war between Ukraine and Russia. How did Ukraine and Russia war affect African economy when our own African countries were having a war but never affect African economy? We should ask our leaders this question. How did that happen? Because they depend on Europeans, and when Europeans are affected, they will be affected. When economy of Europe was affected, then African economy will be affected because African leaders put the African economy dependent on white peoples. And when white people are affected, then we will be affected. When we have wars in many African countries but never affect none of these African countries' economy. But I saw Gambian president when he came out to address Gambians to tell them that the economy is broke, everything is high in the country, everything is very costly in the country because of the Russia and Ukraine war. A Gambian president. I saw a Ghanaian president who came out stupidly addressing Ghanaians and telling them that the economic crisis is happening because of the pandemic and because of the Russia and Ukraine war. That's why everything is costly in Ghana. That's why Ghana economy is broke. But Sierra Leone war never broke the Ghanaian economy. Nigeria war never broke Ghana economy. Libya war never affect Ghana economy. How did Ukraine and Russia war will affect Ghana economy if Ghana president Nana Akufo-Addo is not dependent on Europeans? This is a question that Ghanaians should ask that stupid president who call himself a president. Nana Akufo-Addo, you call yourself a president in your country, but you are ruled by somebody who give you command to do what you should do in your country, in your own country as a black man. It's only a black leader who will accept this stupidity to be a president of your own country and being controlled by someone who command you to tell you what to do in your country. How many of you, the stupid African leaders, command European prime ministers? How many? How many of you, the African leaders, African stupid leaders, command European prime ministers? You can never have that right to command European prime ministers and tell them what should happen in their country and what should not happen. So why are you, the African stupid leaders, allowing European prime ministers to command you in your country and to tell you what you should do in your country and what you should not do? This is why I said, they said slavery is gone, but we are still commanded by these same peoples, Americans, UK, and Europeans. And that's what should be stopped. Europeans should not command Africa, should not decide what should happen in Africa. Americans should not command Africa, and they should not decide what should happen in Africa or what should not happen, because that continent belongs to black Africans. And if our leaders are foolish, stupid leaders in Africa accepting that commandment from Europeans, Americans, and UK, and the citizens of Africa are ready to abandon that one, we are no more going to accept that rubbish. It is not going to be possible in Africa anymore. When you are a president in your own country as an African leader, could you wake up and come to one of these European countries and tell them what should happen in their country or what should not happen? You will never have that feat. You will never be that lion who will come to European countries and command European prime ministers.
So if you will never be that lion as a leader of Africa, if you will never command European prime ministers, then why are you allowing European prime ministers to command you, or UK prime ministers to command you? What have Boris Johnson done to Africa, the former UK prime minister? Boris Johnson. The former UK prime minister Boris Johnson, what have he done to Africa? He was the cause of that war that happened in Ethiopia. He was the cause of the war it happened in this place, in Sierra Leone. Every conflict that was happening in Sierra Leone was caused by this UK former president Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson was causing a conflict in Nigeria. Whatever killing and nonsense that was happening in Nigeria was caused by this same Boris Johnson, former prime minister in Inglaterra. What have Tony Blair done to Gambia? Whatever the president of Gambia right now is rubbishly doing to Gambians is commanded by Tony Blair, because that man was sponsored in his politics by Tony Blair from UK. What have UK done to Africa? You know, if I see UK citizens coming out and pumping their chest like we are UK, what is UK? UK is bloody damn fool country that was causing a lot of wars in Africa, and none of you, the UK citizens, can come out and pump your chest in front of Africans because we make you survive. You survive by us. You suck the blood of Africans to survive, and that's what we want to stop in Africa. Tony Blair was sponsoring Gambian president when he was a politician. Gambian president was sponsored by Tony Blair in his political career, and when he became president, he was controlled by Tony Blair. He took commandment from Tony Blair. And how many wars Tony Blair caused in Africa? Tony Blair from UK. I mentioned their names because they are the devils and the evils and the cause of every corruption in Africa. But today, Tony Blair is sitting on Chattanham videos in UK. In UK TV station called Chattanham, Tony Blair will go and sit there and talk nonsense about Africa. Where did Tony Blair get that win from? To sit in Chattanham and they video him, he is speaking rubbish about Africa. How did Tony Blair know Africa? When do Tony Blair started to know things about Africa, if not causing wars in Africa? When did Boris Johnson know something about Africa, if not stealing from Africa? But all these people are there just doing rubbish to Africa, and they go and sit in their bloody TV stations and speak of the corruption in Africa. When you, Joe Biden, American president, what do you know about Africa? What do you know about Africa? If in your own history, the American history, you don't know nothing about American history, what can you tell America about the American history, how America was built? You, Joe Biden, the American foolish president who think he control Africa, he can tell Africans what should happen in Africa and what should not happen in Africa. That rubbish is going to stop. It's going to stop. Mark my face. We don't come here to joke with you people anymore. We are tired of begging you for freedom, and we will no more beg for freedom. Africans are no more going to beg any white man for freedom. We are going to fight till the end and get what we want. What peace can bring to Africa, war will bring to Africa. If Africa cannot have peace and freedom in peace, then we should get it in pieces. And that's what we are going to stand for now. If Joe Biden is sitting in American TVs and sitting and talking about the corruptions of Africa, what do Joe Biden know about corruption? The American president. Do he even know the definition of corruption? Who is corrupt more than Joe Biden, the American president? No leader is corrupt more than Joe Biden, the American president. No leader is corrupt like Boris Johnson, the UK former prime minister. Nobody is corrupt more than Macron, France president. All these people are corruptions. France, what is France doing to Africa? By using Africa and building France's economy, using Senegal. France is using Senegal, France is using Sierra Leone, France is using Cote d'Ivoire, France is using Mali, France was using all these countries, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau. Let's talk about all these countries. France was using all these countries to build their economy. France wants to rule Africa. And if France want to rule Africa, I want to tell them this. They should be ready that there will be conflict between Africa and France. Either you believe it or you don't believe it. Whatever France is trying to do today, they want to stop Africans being speaking any other language, but they want every African country to speak French language. Is it by force? You bring your language to our continent to destroy Africa. When America and Inglaterra have colonized Africa, France colonized Africa, and they bring their language to us for us to learn their language, not to learn their language, but to learn about their systems. This is what they do to Africa. If we learn about their language, we are not speaking their language properly, then we should know that there are people who learn English in Africa, they graduated, they cannot even speak proper English. What is that? The books they send to Africa, how the education system in Africa to learn about English, if you go to Angleterre, is different in their schools. If you go to Africa, one man, one student is learning about 17 subjects or 18 subjects of English language. 17 subjects. But if you go to Angleterre, their citizens are studying only one subject, only one course. But Africa, how many subjects are we doing in school? If you are learning English school. Then if Tony Blair and Boris Johnson, those UK fucking prime ministers, are sitting in their TV stations to talk about the corruption in Africa, and nobody is coming out to against them. Joe Biden, who doesn't know how America was even built, was talking about the corruptions of Africa when your forefathers were there stealing from Africa and enslaved Kunta Kinte, and we are still with that pain. And you, Joe Biden, you sit in American TV to talk about the corruptions of Africa when you don't ask how America was built. America was built by our forefathers. America belongs to black people, don't belongs to no damn white man. Because we built America. America become America today because of we the black peoples. When you were enslaving our forefathers like Kunta Kinte to take them to America and make them a slave. You didn't remember that. But now you still want to talk about the corruption in Africa when that corruption was caused by you, Joe Biden, you, Boris Johnson from UK, you, Tony Blair from UK, Macron from France, France president. Go to European Union Parliament, they are all bloody damn fools. They use Africa to build European economy, and they sit here and talk about the sovereignty of Africa. Why are you speaking about the sovereignty of Africa when you are the cause of that sovereignty on Africans? Why? Why are you speaking about the corruption in Africa when you are the cause of the corruption in Africa? That's what I want to know. Why are you the European Union Parliament when you are meeting, you only speak about how to involve Africa, but to make Africa being slave to you still yet? But you come on the world TV and tell the world that you are having a partnership with Africa. How did that benefit Africa? European Union having a meeting or having a join with African Union, how did that benefit Africa? But I don't blame you, the European Union Parliament workers. I blame the damn bloody African Union who call themselves African Union. They stand for African countries while they are being used by European Union. We have the second European Union in Africa. We call it African Union. Why are you trying to blindfold Africans? Why? But you sit in your TV stations to show to your children that how Africans are suffering in Africa. How Africans are fools. How Africans are hungry in Africa. How Africans are dying without food, without no water. But you make a war in Africa, and you go there to make a video and come to your country and show it to your children that Africans are making war. Africans are killing each other. Africans are eating each other. But you don't tell your children that you are the cause of that war happening in Africa. You never tell your children. You, the Europeans, Americans, and UK, you never tell your children that you are the cause of every war in Africa, and you are the cause of every killing happening in Africa. You sit in your TV station to show to your children that Africans are nobody. Because you want your children to believe that Africans are nobody, Africans are zero. This is why in Europe, every black man in Europe have no respect from these children of Europeans. Because they have already seen in their TVs, their fathers were telling them stories about Africa, while their fathers didn't know no story about Africa. When you, the Europeans, were suffering and dying by malaria when you went to Africa, Sierra Leone to search for cure, you never explained that story to your children. Why you never tell your children that you were in Africa dying of malaria when Africans have found a cure and give you medicine to cure yourself? You never tell that one to your children. Why you never explain that story to European children? But you always want to show the cause of the war that you were causing in Africa. You always want to show them the hunger, the suffering in Africa. You are saying you are planning to help that country. When I saw Joe Biden speaking about Nigeria, the conflict that is happening in Nigeria, the suffering in Nigeria, the hunger in Nigeria, Joe Biden is not even feeling ashamed to talk about the conflict and the corruption and the suffering in Nigeria. When Joe Biden is the main cause of that, to everything that is happening there. When Joe Biden was the supplier of weapons to Boko Haram to kill Nigerians. When Joe Biden was sitting and calling Muslims a terrorist, when Joe Biden himself is a terrorist, because Joe Biden was sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. Joe Biden was sponsoring weapons to Boko Haram. And Boko Haram, they call themselves Muslims. And Boko Haram is a terrorist group that was sponsored by Joe Biden, American government. Then why do Joe Biden go and sit in American TV and talking about the conflict and corruption in Nigeria and war in Nigeria? Why don't you tell them how the conflict and war and corruption happen in Nigeria? Why you, Joe Biden, don't sit and explain to Americans how did that happen? How did Boko Haram was getting weapons? Why do Joe Biden don't go and sit and explain that? But you are sitting in TV station to show to Americans that you know something about Nigeria. That only make it clear that you are the cause of everything. How do you know Boko Haram is a Muslim terrorist group when you are not supplying them with weapons? But you are supplying them with weapons, and you sit in your own TV stations to talk about the corruptions in Africa and the wars in Africa. Why? When you don't even know how America was built. But you believe America belongs to American white peoples. How many black communities do we have in America? How many black communities? That only should show you that America belongs to black peoples. The example of America belongs to black peoples was choosing to make it clear by Obama when Obama became a president in America, became a tough fool who doesn't care about what happened in Africa. How can a black man like you know the story of your forefathers like Obama, you become a president of America, you still remain fool and still cause corruptions in Africa. Obama was also causing corruptions in Africa. I don't care if Obama is a black man, but Obama was causing a lot of corruptions in Africa. When Obama became the president of America, was causing corruptions in Africa, was causing conflict in Africa. Let's talk about it. What the hell to hide again? What do you want from us? Huh? When you cause conflict in our countries, when you cause wars in our countries, cause corruptions in our countries, now when black people started to migrate to come to Europe, Europeans want to beat them chest that they are the one helping black people. So who are you helping? Who the hell? You are helping your parents. If you help a black man, you help your parents. Because black people are your parents. How can Europeans come out to beat up their chest because black people are migrating from Africa to Europe? Huh? So Europeans want to come out to pick up their chests because black people are migrating from Africa to Europe. They say they don't need black people. Black people are criminals. Black people are killers. Black people are terrorists. Your father is a terrorist. I tell you, you the Europeans, go and ask your prime ministers. Your prime ministers are terrorists on Africans. Your prime ministers have been terrorizing in Africa and stealing our natural resources. European, and all the European prime ministers were terrorizing Africa. And that's what we are going to say. So if you, the European citizens, don't know anything in your life, only bloody fools, you know whatever you see in TV, that's what you believe. What do you see in real life? Europeans. What do Europeans see in real life? They only believe in TVs, what they hear in radio stations, in TVs, in newspapers. You don't know nothing in your real life. But your prime ministers who are telling you that Africans are terrorists, Africans are criminals, Africans are killers, but those European prime ministers are terrorizing on Africans, killing Africans, causing wars in Africa, causing corruptions in Africa, but they are still sitting here and talking about how Africans are dirty. If Africans are dirty, then why you, the Europeans in 1850, went to Africa, Sierra Leone to search for medicine? If Africans are dirty, why you, the Europeans, migrate to Africa to go and search for help? Why? Because we migrate to your country. Are you, the Europeans, never migrating? Europeans were the first people to migrate. But now Europeans feel like they never migrate. They never migrate. How many European citizens we have outside Europe as a migration, as an immigrant? How many European citizens? It's uncountable. What do you people have that you can beat your chest because Africans are migrating from Africa to come to Europe, and you said, no, we don't need black people. We don't need black people in our countries because black people are criminal. Black people steal our jobs. You are a fool, a big fool. Your prime ministers, European prime ministers, are terrorists. European prime ministers are murderers. European prime ministers are corruptions. They cause corruptions in Africa. They cause wars in Africa. They cause conflict in Africa. And they come and sit in Europe here and fool you people and brainwash you, the European citizens, telling you that black people are corrupted. There are more corruption in Africa. Africans are hungry. Africans don't have food. Africans don't know education. If Africans don't know education, why do Africans win every competition in this world? If Africans don't have better life, why do Africans have leaders? Why do Africa is still living? Why do your leaders are tired of destroying Africa? If Africa is not a place, if Africans doesn't know nothing, then by right now I tell you, you the European prime ministers have finished Africa. What is your mission in this world? Every prime minister in Europe, their mission is to destroy Africa, to make sure that Africa remain in poverty, to make sure that Africa remain undeveloped. That is the mission of European prime ministers. That is the mission of Uncle Prime Minister. That is the mission of you, Joe Biden, in America, who doesn't even know how America was built. All your mission is to destroy Africa. How many years? For a decade now, you have been trying to destroy Africa, to make Africa a nothing. But still, Africans are surviving. That alone should show you that you can never destroy Africa. Your forefathers have tried everything. Use our forefathers as a slave. Do all sorts kind of things. Still, our natural resources, they couldn't destroy Africa. And you, the chicken change people, came nowadays and start to speak about Africa, start to speak the dirty parts of Africa and take the picture and videos of the part of Africa, those people who are hungry, those people who need water. You take their videos, take their pictures and bring them Europe here. And you come and lie to your people so that Africans are dying of hunger. Which country in this world there is no suffering? And you, the Europeans, are suffering. If I tell you the Europeans are suffering, you believe. You don't believe it. But if I tell you the suffering parts of Europe, will you believe it? Then I'm talking to black Africans to tell them that Europeans are suffering. And I will tell them the suffering parts of Europe. Europeans are suffering. Because everything in Europe here belongs to government. In Africa, everything. People, you see someone using, they bought it. They have it. It's their own. In Africa, people's own land. In Africa, everybody own your land. But in Europe, everybody live in rent. Every house belongs to government. You have to rent it. You, the Europeans, are suffering. Everything about you, the Europeans, is about your government borrow you money. Later you pay back. You work for free. European citizens are slaves to their prime ministers because they work and to return the money back to the government. When the government pay you before month finish, you return the money back to the government. We know the system of Europe. How many years have we been sitting in Europe here? So we know the system in Europe here. The Babylon system, we can take it. The suffering you people are into, Africa is not that much suffer like that. How many of you, the Europeans, go to Africa and refuse to return back? How many of you, the Europeans, have the wish to go to Africa and stay there forever? How many? How many of you, the Europeans, have built houses and big business in Africa, decide to stay there forever? Then why are you staying in a place that you know there is corruption? That you know those people are dirty, those people are not good, those people are criminals. Because you call black people are criminals. Black people are terrorists. When your prime ministers are terrorists. Italian prime minister is terrorist. France government, France prime minister Macron is terrorist. German prime ministers are terrorists. Ukraine prime minister was terrorist. Ukraine president. Spain prime minister is terrorist. These are all terrorists on Africa. They are all terrorists. Australia is terrorist. Australian prime minister is terrorist. Switzerland, they are all terrorists. Sweden, they are all terrorists. Belgium, Denmark, talk about the countries' names. But you, the European prime ministers, you sit in your TV and call Africa corruption. There is corruption in Africa. Oh, we need to help Africa because you see, whatever is happening in Africa, we need to go there and help them. We need to put this money together. We have sent 28 million in Africa to help the poverty in Africa. And you, the European citizens, are sitting here, you think that whatever your prime ministers are saying is the truth. European prime ministers are thieves, terrorists, criminals, fools who steal from Africa to make Europe to survive. But today, because Africans are migrating to Europe, you call Africans nobody. But in 1850s, when malaria was killing you people, you run to Sierra Leone. Why do you go to Africa? If Africans are criminals, if Africans are nobody, why do you run to them for help in 1850s? Why? But Tony Blair, Boris Johnson from UK, these are all peoples who are terrorists, criminals, fools. The world big criminals are walking free, but these little criminals who we meet on the street, they are criminals, right? We call them criminals. The people who steal 2,000, who steal 1,000, we call them criminals, thieves. But we are not seeing people who are stealing billions, trillions. We are not calling them criminals. Everybody is afraid to call them criminals. Everybody is afraid to call European prime ministers criminals, thieves. Because they are on big position, they can arrest you, they can lock you up. Who the hell are they? I am not afraid to be locked up. Even if you call me on European Union Parliament meeting, I will still say the same thing. European Union is trying to make the relationship between them and African Union more tight because they know they survive by Africa. When I send a new request to European Union, why don't they reply? When you give me the chance to send you a request and I send a request, why don't they reply? I am Jara Lamin. In case if European Union see this video, let them go to the requests, the applications they give to people to send them requests. Why don't they accept my request? Why don't they answer my questions? The questions I was sending to European Union. Why don't they answer it? You know what I tell them, they don't have answer to it. If they know the answer, then they will never say the answer out. You think we are fools? You think we are fools? Because we migrate from our country, because we travel, we didn't even migrate. There's no migrant. We are not migrants. Black people living in Europe, they are not migrants. Without us, no country will survive. When we came to Europe here, then every European country that accept migrants, where their economy was increasing, because you use black people to build your economy. But now they call us criminals. They call us thieves. Black people are criminals. Black people are thieves. Black people are terrorists. Black people are fools. Black people don't know nothing. But without those black peoples, you, the Europeans, Americans, UK will not survive. When your prime ministers are thieves, criminals, European prime ministers are thieves. European prime ministers are criminals. I will want to face one of the European prime minister who will deny that he is not a thief. Before I will be assassinated, everything in me, I will bring it out for Africans. And why are they still commanding we the Africans? Because we underestimated ourselves. Africans doesn't value Africa, and we the Africans don't value ourselves. Why do we look down on ourselves when we know we are the father and the mother of the planet, the whole planet? But we still underestimate ourselves. They still rule us. We don't care about ourselves. We copy their systems. Africa can never copy European systems. Africans want to copy the system, the culture of Europe, and become Europeans by copying the culture of Europe. But Europeans are never copying the culture of Africa. But Africans are now abandoning their own cultures and follow European cultures and American cultures. This is the main reason we can't liberate Africa. People said, no, Africa can never be liberated. How will Africa be liberated when we, the Africans who will liberate Africa, when we are trying to abandon our own cultures and our own things and believe in white man things? And those things we abandon, those are the things that white people are coming for. But we are there, abandoning our own culture. Those cultures we are abandoning, those are the cultures that white people are searching for millions of years they couldn't get it. But we get it now, we are abandoning it and following them. They are trying to use us to follow the role they are playing. But they are not really playing that role. They are trying to play the role we are playing, but they want us to jump from our box and go into their box, and later we will see them in our box. They told us that the box we are in is not a good box. It's a bad box. It will break later. It will never make us rich. We should go into their box. Their box is good. Their box will make us rich. Then we are all jumping. All Africans are jumping from African box to European box. And at the end of the day, when we all go there, when we are all in, they will close the box and they will all transfer to our box. And we will regret why we abandon our own cultures, why we abandon our own things, why we abandon our own selves and try to become somebody. When you are copying another man's style, you can never be who you want to be. You can never get what you want to get. You have to be yourself, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, be yourself always. And you will become whoever you want to become in life. You can never become Pandi Maica. When you are not Pandi Maica, you can never become Pandi Maica. You can never be like Pandi Maica. Be who you are. Every human being, God give you something to survive with. Every human being have something special. Unless you refuse, you deny, you don't want to use it. But we all have something special. But we the Africans trying to abandon ourselves and trying to ignore ourselves, but we all want to be like white man. This is the fact. Every black man want to be like white man. And we want to liberate Africa. We don't want to liberate a white man country. Why are we trying to become like white man? Why everybody want to be like white man? Why everybody want to use a culture of Europeans and Americans and Inglaterra? Why? And we want to liberate Africa. When you said some black peoples by themselves, they will say, no, my brother, relax. Africa can never be liberated. Africa can never come together as one. We can never come together as one because we all abandon ourselves. We abandon our things, our cultures, our Africa, and try to become Europeans. Now, if you go to Africa, everybody want to come to Europe. Everybody. Everybody in Africa want to come to Europe. Me being in Europe, I use the opportunity to learn about Europeans, to know what they are doing to Africa. But I never abandon my culture. I never abandon Africa. There are many black peoples in Europe who are now automatically Europeans. They don't even want to hear nothing about Africa. They don't even want to be with Africans. They don't even like Africa. There are many black peoples in Europe who don't want to even hear about Africa. They don't even want to know who the black peoples are. And they are black, but now they feel like they are white. They move with white. They respect white culture, but they disrespect their own African culture. They don't care. We are losing. And we will keep on losing if we don't try to respect ourselves. Blackhood. We should respect ourselves, value ourselves, be ourselves. Whatever will happen tomorrow, even if I'm not alive, the only thing I want all Africa to become one nation. Even if I'm not alive. Whatever will happen tomorrow, let it be like the whole Africa become one nation. This was the wish of Mohammed Gaddafi, and he is gone. And it's the wish of Pandi Maica for the whole Africa to become one nation. For the whole Africa to speak one language. For the whole Africa to love each other and appreciate each other. For black peoples to defend each other no matter anywhere we meet. It doesn't matter where you came from. We don't have countries in Africa. We are one country. We have only one country. And that country is called Africa. We don't have Nigeria, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Congo, Togo, Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, Mozambique, Liberia, Sierra Leone. We don't have these names in Africa. We have only one country in Africa, and that is called Africa. We all came from one country. When we try to appreciate each other and love each other and defend each other, we will be able to do whatever we want. Let's love each other. We are from the same mother and father. Let's stop against each other, stop fighting against each other, stop ignoring each other, stop seeing each other as fools, and let's see each other as intelligent ones. Appreciate each other. Respect ourselves. We are brothers and sisters. If we accept this fact, I tell you, nobody will challenge Africa. Nobody. Because this is the plan they do to separate Africa. They know black man. When Africa is together as one big nation, nobody, no country, no continent will ever have that chance to cheat on Africa or to destroy Africa. But they know this. For a very long time they know this. That if Africans are together, you can never destroy them. They are very powerful when they are together. But when they are separated, they are very fools. You can use them against each other and they will kill each other. They know this for a very long time. This is the main reason they put boundaries to every country and say, here is Nigeria, here is Ghana, here is Guinea, here is Guinea-Bissau, here is Gambia, here is Senegal. They start to put borders. To start to give us this feeling that we are not the same. If we are from Nigeria and I'm from Gambia, then means we are not the same. And you and me can never do things together. So I feel like, oh, this one is from Nigeria, then I'm from Gambia, I don't care. This is the feeling. This is the mentality. It's another kind of mentality that change your mentality. You hate your own fellow brother. You hate your own brother. But you don't know because you feel like you are never the same part with him. Like you have your own brother from the same mother and father. And somebody came and took your brother to another side and took you to another side and put a border. Then you become enemies. Border is an enemy between peoples. It makes people to see each other like enemies. And this is what is happening to we the Africans. Either you are from Nigeria, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Congo, Togo, Gambia, Senegal, Malawi, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ethiopia, Kenya. I appreciate all these peoples. When I see you anywhere, I know you are a black man from Africa. I appreciate you and I respect you. Because why? I want to be an example. To love every African. Every black African. I never fight a black African, my fellow black man. It never happened. And it will never happen. No matter what a black man did to me, I try to sit and put my senses together. But not to fight against my own fellow black man. It is because by me sitting here and trying to bring Africa together and trying to speak about the togetherness of Africa, and tomorrow you see me fighting a black man, what will you think? And my last word will go to African social media. Those who have social medias and they say they stand for Africa, they fight for Africa, they speak about Africa. My brother, it's not about speaking. It's not about making videos. It's about what is in your heart. If you are speaking and fighting for Africa because you want something in social media, then you are not a real Pan-African. A real Pan-African will never be bored by Facebook money, or by YouTube money, or by TikTok money. A real African stand on the truth. This is a real Pan-African. A real Pan-African stand with the truth. A real Pan-African doesn't care whatever will happen to him, but he always wants the real thing to be done in Africa. is Pan-African? Someone who stands for Africa, someone who gives his life to Africa, either dead or alive. Even he will be assassinated, he don't care. He just wanna give Africans awareness. No matter what happened to him, he will always be there for Africa, and that is what we call Pan-African. Someone who gives his life to Africa. Give your life to Africa. No, not every African can give their life to Africa. Not every African can stand and fight for Africa. But if you want to do it, then your heart should be clean. Not like you sit today here in Facebook to say, Africa, we should come together, we should all love each other, but you are there being an enemy to another African. But you hate your fellow Africans everywhere you see them. But you sit in media and say, Africa should come together. It's not like that. Being a Pan-African, you should always love your fellow Africans. Either you see them in difficulty or in millions or in rich or in poor, you should always appreciate them and you should always respect them as far as they are black Africans. And even if you are not Pan-African, when you try to put this in your mind that every black African you see is your fellow brother, every black African you see is your fellow sister, you will never lack. Enmity between us, that's what is destroying us. Enmity between Africans, that's what is causing all these problems in Africa. Because Africans hate each other. Africans don't appreciate each other. When they try to bring the enmity between Africans, then they are very happy. Europeans, Americans, and UK, when they try to bring the enmity between Africans, they feel so happy. Like the same way they bring enmity between Mohammed Gaddafi and Libyan peoples. The same way they bring enmity between Yahya Jammeh and Gambian peoples. They bring enmity. They know if Africans hate each other, it's a problem. They will never like each other. And they will do all what they can to kill each other. They know this. They know we. They read about us. They learn about us. And they already know us. So now they use us as they want. But we don't know them. We don't learn about them. We don't know who they are. This is what is disturbing us. When we know who they are, we will already appreciate ourselves. But we don't know who they are. We are not learning about them. But always we want to be like them. Africa. Africans don't know. They are enemies. They don't learn about their enemies. But always they want to be like their enemies. And their enemies are always in their mind. They want to be like Africans. African enemies always want to be like Africans. They always want to have what Africa have. But they don't have. Now they are trying to make Africans feel like, oh, African, you people are nobody. Oh, Africans, you people have nothing. So now every African want to be like white man. Every African man want to be like white man. They make you to abandon yourself. That yourself you are abandoning. That's what white people want. And when all Africans abandon Africa and the resources of Africa, white people will go to Africa and become Africans. And we will be in their future. Replacements of future will come one day. Because Africans will want to become white man. And white man is already making Africans to abandon themselves, to make them feel like black hood is stupid hood. Black hood is not nice. Come to white hood. And when all black Africans are convinced to become white hood, then all white hood will become black hood. That's called the transformation of future. Transformation of future is coming. It will be here. Look what is happening. Transformations of language and transformations of things happen. Transformation of future is happening, but we are not seeing it unless we go into danger. Unless we lose all. The little we have right now, we will lose it one day if we are not careful, Africa. When the transformations of future come. How many black people do we have in European countries and in America and in China and we are in our enemies' countries. We are full. We all run away from Africa. We all want to become Europeans. Nobody is thinking, look, they steal from us. Now we should steal from them and send it back to our country and build Africa. Nobody is thinking about it. To come to an European country or America or UK, to go there is not a problem as a black African. Because you know why? You should go there and think about what they did to you before. And you should also learn about them and try to outsmart them. We have millions of black people living in the white man countries. Can we outsmart them? They steal from us and took it to their countries and build their countries. Why now we have the opportunity? Why can't we steal from them and build Africa? Wake up. You should wake up, Africa. I love you all, Africa. And I love every black man. And I fight for Africa with my heart. Whatever I said it from my heart. Not from my mouth. Not by being somebody who wants fame. But I want Africa. And I love Africa. And I want black Africans to know what is happening to them. I love that continent called Africa. I give my life to Africa. I want Africa to be developed. Even if I am not alive. If I can change Africa and die and Africans enjoy Africa, then I will be happy. I will be a happy man even if I die. In the process of liberating Africa. But I'm afraid of only one thing. I'm not afraid to die by fighting for Africa. I am not afraid to be assassinated by fighting for Africa. No, I am afraid of only one thing. If I die, will Africa be still liberated? Or will Africa still remain in poverty like this? If I die, will Africans still have freedom? This makes me so afraid. If I die, will there be somebody to stand like I stand for Africans? This makes me so afraid. But I'm never afraid to die. Never. I'm never afraid to die by fighting for Africa. They kill me, I am happy. They kill Mohammed Gaddafi by saying he wants to unite Africa. So if they kill me by saying that Africa should unite, why will I be angry or why will I feel afraid to die? If Mohammed Gaddafi didn't feel afraid to die, Nelson Mandela didn't feel afraid to be locked up, Martin Luther King didn't feel afraid to be assassinated, John Pombe Magufuli didn't feel afraid to be assassinated, why will I feel afraid to be assassinated if I said I stand for that same role? I want to play that same role for Africans. I make it very clear that I give my life to Africa. I want to die by fighting for Africa. I'm not afraid to die, but I'm afraid if I die, will Africa still be liberated? Will Africa be free if I die by fighting for Africa? Will there be someone who should stand for Africa like me? We have many peoples. When I was young, I was always watching a video of one black man in America, who was always fighting for black people's rights and the freedom of black peoples. When I watched the video how they killed him, he was shot by a gun on the street because he always called people on the street and explained to them about blackhood, how America was built. And one day they shoot him with gun and he died on the street of America. I always watched him when I was in school. I always listened to his word of wisdom and his words about Africa. And he was killed. And I saw so many stories about so many African legends who were killed because they fight for Africa. So I didn't just jump into fight for Africa because I feel like to do it. No. It was like something that I am ready for it. I know in the process I could die. In the process I could survive. In the process I may have peace. In the process I may not have peace. So I'm ready for it. But the only thing I want is Africans are always there for me. Because I will be always there for Africa till I die. Even if there is only 2 Africans for me, I will be there. Even if there is only one, as far as he's a black man, black African, I will be there for Africa. No matter what. No matter what. I face many difficulties by standing for Africa and by making videos on Facebook like this. Many challenges. many bad challenges I face by making videos like this. That made me last time to make a video. It was last year. I made a video that I want to die for Africa. I give my life to Africa because I know what will happen at the end of the day. I know what will happen at the end of the day. That will be a time you will never see Pandi Maica anymore. Either you believe it or you don't believe it, but that will be a time. Those who watch me today will never see me anymore. You can only see these videos on social media. And if you are not careful, every video I am making in social media will be deleted. If I am gone, I believe I will not live longer. I know it already. So I'm never worried. I know I will be gone very soon. But if I'm gone, protect my videos and always keep my videos with you, Africa. Always keep my videos with you, Africa. Learn from them. Respect yourself with it. Appreciate Africa. As a black African, appreciate yourself with my videos. Even if I die, my spirit will be always there for Africa till the world ends. But I know I will not live long. It's not a new thing. How many times when 2021 they have been threatening my life, saying that they will kill me if I don't stop talking about slavery. They will kill me. They make it very clear. And I was even sharing the text messages on Facebook. That they said they will kill me if I don't stop talking about the slavery. The videos I made, if I don't stop making videos like this, they will kill me. It was like people who called me was like 2 to 3 numbers, different numbers called me and threatening me. And from there I tried to begin to see that, Pandi Maica, you will not live long. But my words, I want my words to stand always. It was the time when I post some video about European Union. I speak something about European Union. They block my page and delete all my videos. Every videos from YouTube, everywhere. They are very connected. YouTube and Facebook is very connected. They are very connected. How come the videos I was made in Facebook, when Facebook blocked that Facebook and delete everything from there because of the video I published about European Union? That video was not made by me. Was made by European Union video cameraman who videoed them when they are doing meeting. I don't know how the video got leaked. When it got leaked, then I get the video and I publish it on my page. Immediately Facebook banned me and they delete everything in my page. My page called Pandi Maica Stars Defender. They delete everything in it. And I go to YouTube, I see all those videos where are not there again. Because when I post them on Facebook, I go to my YouTube and post them there. And I saw they delete all from my YouTube also. And it was like, that was the time that Facebook sent me notification when I was using that Pandi Maica Stars Defender. They said, if I don't stop talking about slavery, if I don't stop talking about this mentally slavery, they are going to stop paying my Facebook account. They will never pay me. And that also caused some problems when I reply. I don't hide. I reply to Facebook that I don't care if I will be paid or not, but the truth will be said. From there, Facebook stopped paying Pandi Maica. They stopped paying me, and they think I will stop because there are many Africans who came on Facebook to fight for Africa. They pretend they are fighting for Africa, but they are looking for Facebook money, and they think Pandi Maica is like that kind of person. Then I keep on doing my videos without money. I don't care. I'm not there for money. And Africans, you the Africans, we are still there watching me every time, and I was so happy. Without money, when I have peoples, I am okay. When I see Africans watching me, I am okay. I don't care about the money they give to me on Facebook. As they block it, Africans were watching me in every live. I was so happy. I feel so happy to go live every day to speak about Africa, the slavery. To sort of Facebook that I am not a man who look for the chicken change in Facebook. I am working every day. Every day I go my work. My salary is okay for me. My salary I have every month is okay for me. I'm surviving with it. But because Facebook will stop paying me, will not let me to let go Africa, then that means I am not Pan-African. I am there for money. And when Facebook see I am still there, what do? They have the right to make my videos not to go viral, because they are the owner of the application, CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Then when I post videos, they are not going viral. My viral, they block viral from all my videos. My videos were not seen by many Africans. When I do live, my live was not seen by even people who follow me. People call me, they told me, bro, I missed to see you live while I was doing live. But Facebook was blocking every notification. They were not seeing the notification. They were not seeing the live. I'm saying this, I'm in Facebook doing live again, and I'm saying the same thing. To let you, the Africans, know that I face a lot. A lot. That was the time when they said, my documents will not be out because I go against European law. Europeans give me document, that's right. But that will not make me slave to them. I am not African leader who you give money and command. Europeans cannot say they give me because they give me European document, then so that's why they should command me, and they should tell me with the video I should upload or the video I should not upload. I am not African leaders who you can give money and tell them how to rule Africa. What should happen in Africa or what should not happen in Africa. I am not an African leader. I am Pandi Maica. I am independent to make any video I want to make. I have my human right to make any video I made. So Europeans cannot give me documents, and because they give me documents, so they have to tell me what to do in my, what to publish in my page and what not to publish, what to say in my page and what not to say, because they give me document. And I don't give a damn if that document was blocked or out. Who cares? If the document you block it, I am still in your country and I will still torment you. Because by black man saying the truth is a tormentment for Europeans. And I will still torment you. And I will still live in your country. A lot of them says I am racist. And I said I accept the fact that I am racist. But Europeans were the one who teach me how to become racist, and I become the most racist than them. I accept the fact. But as far as Africans are with me, trust me, I will never give up. I am me and I will still remain me. I will never change. If I change, means I'm dead. But I will never change, even in death. I love Africa, because that's where I came from. My mother is in Africa. My father is in Africa. My siblings are in Africa. My brothers and sisters are in Africa. The separation in Africa, I see it. The conflict caused by these white peoples in Africa, I see it. How do you think? Look at what is happening in Ethiopia, Liberia, Uganda. Look at all these countries. What is happening there? Look at how their governments being ruled by white peoples and causing conflicts in their own countries by themselves. What happened in Sierra Leone last year in 2022? Killing innocent peoples. The government sending patron team to kill innocent peoples because they go out for demonstration. Was caused by Ingleterre government called Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of Ingleterre, who sacked himself. My people, let's appreciate each other and let's always be there for each other. I love Africa and I will always love Africa. And every black man, you should know that you are in the heart of Pandi Maica. I never hate no one, no black man. And I will always stand for black peoples. Nobody pay me to fight for black peoples. Nobody pay me to speak for black peoples. I do it by myself. It's by choice. I choose it. I choose this role to play. And I must play it till I die. It's not like I will play it and later you see Pandi Maica forget about Africa. No. I choose it by myself and I will play it till I die. Till I die. That's my respect to Africans. I love you all. African suffering, black man suffering, black man dying each and every day. You want to kill a Pandi, you want to kill a Pandi, you want to kill a Fatima. They want to kill me, come and kill me. They want to murder me, come and murder me. I know if I stand for Africa, they want to kill me, they want to kill me. Me no fear, if you no fear to kill a black man, Pandi Maica no fear to fight for African. If you no fear to kill a African, Pandi Maica no fear to fight for Africa.
I love Africa. And I will fight for Africa no matter what happens. I give my life to Africa. I sacrifice for Africa. And I'm going to die for Africa.
This is my blending. I'm blending in my blending. This is my firing. I'm firing in my house. This is my blending. I'm blending in my blending. This is my firing. I'm firing in my house. When will Africa be free from slavery? When will Africa be free from darkness? Oh yeah, tell me something now. When will Africa be free from? Oh yeah, tell me something now. Oh, Jah, tell me something now.
When will our leaders wake up to fight?
Oh, Jah, tell me something now.
When will Africa get
Leaders like Mohammed Gaddafi, Nelson Mandela, John Pompe Magufuli, Africa mia, oh Jah, Africa my blessing continent, yeah. Let's go. This is my blending, I'm a blending in my blending. This is my firing, I'm a firing in my house. This is my blending, I'm a blending in my blending. This is my firing, I'm a firing in my house. Africa, tell me something now. In Africa, oh Jah, tell me something now.
no good education in Africa?
Oh, Jah, tell me something now. Oh, Jah, tell me something now. Blending in my blending. My God. I'm firing in my house. Oh, Rastafari. Oh, Jarafari.
Oh, Jah Africa. Oh, Jah Africa. Mama Africa. Papa Africa. Africa. Pandi Maica.
Maica. Pandi Maica.
Freedom for Africa.
I am African, you are African. Don't fight your fellow man, we are all Africa. I am African, you are African. Don't fight your fellow man, we are all Africa. I wanna see Africa fight African. I wanna see African killing African. I wanna see Africa fight European. I wanna see Africa fight American. I wanna see Africa fight England. I wanna see Africa fighting African. I wanna see African killing African. I wanna see Africa fight European. I wanna see Africa fight American. I wanna see Africa fight American. I wanna see Africa fight Chinese. Wow. I am African, you are African. Don't fight your fellow man, we are all Africa. I am African, you are African. Don't kill your fellow man, we are all Africa. On me if I kill any American. Lord have mercy on me if I kill any Iranian. Mercy, Lord have mercy on me if I kill any Chinese. Lord have mercy on me if I kill any European. Lord have mercy. Me, Lord of mercy, Pandi Maica, me, Lord of my fellow black African, I like my fellow black African, I am African, you are. Oh, Mama Africa, Pandi Maica, come again, no. See me friend, them are celebrating, cause Pandi Maica came in back home. See me people, them are celebrating. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. African ghetto youth them are me power. Every ghetto youth them are celebrating. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. See the president of them a feel afraid. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. See the ministers of them a feel afraid. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. See the president of them a feel afraid. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. See the ministers of them a feel afraid. Casa Pandi Maica coming back home. Me want come fight for my Africans. Me want tell a African me want come stand for my Africa.